And here, okay, copy and paste the same thing. Or maybe we add a few characters to this. And we just say doko. Oh. Okay. And here, why are my hands and legs so short? Okay, in order to translate this, there are a few ways that we can go about doing this. Here, one way is to divide the legs and hands so short from the Y. So maybe we can translate it as so short by itself when translated into Japanese is mijikai, which is mijikai. So mijikai is the Japanese version of short. Okay, so hand and legs. Oh, hey there. Hey, welcome back, Stratosphere. How was your weekend? So, if you were wondering, right now we are sort of setting up the dialogue for the dialogue system in Stellar Stars, and hey, that's good to know. I'm glad to hear that you had a great weekend. Okay, mine has been awesome as well, I guess, because we can finally sort of start to move on to creating the dialogue system for Stellar Stars, which is what we are doing right now. So this is the sort of Excel sheet for the dialogue, and we'll also add the translation next to the English version. So right now I'm translating the Japanese version. Okay, and after that I'll be adding the Chinese translation for both traditional and simplified, and then I would also like to add the Russian translation, but I have no background in Russian, so maybe I might need some help for that. Okay, but we'll see. Okay, so now we are trying to translate why are my hands and legs so short. Okay, by the way, these are the dialogue texts that will be shown and animated in the beginning of the game to sort of intro the story. Okay, so why are my hands and legs so short? So short is mijikai. So we can say that why are my hands and legs so short? So why by itself can be translated into nande. Okay, nande ashi, which is legs, to te, which is hand. and we need to say my hands and legs. So nande ole no ashi to te. Oh, I need to reverse that. So why are my hands and legs so short? To oh. Okay, so なんで俺の足と手が短い? Okay, so next is wait a minute, which can be translated into chotomate. Okay, so this place looks familiar. Can be translated into... Okay, so this place, when translated into Japanese, is konobasho. Okay, familiar or rather looks familiar, can be translated into, if I recall, should be mi oboe garu. Okay, so if we use Google Translate for this, it will look weird. So this place looks familiar. Okay, at least the first part is translated correctly, but the second part is just rubbish. Okay, so that's why we shouldn't try to use Google Translate, because if we use this minale thing is not looks familiar, it's getting used to looking at this place, so it's totally a wrong translation. Okay, so konobasho, this place. Wow, that means we're referring to this place. Mi oboe, yeah. Mi by itself is referring to looking. Oboe means that you can recall maybe that you have seen this before, which is looks familiar. Oh, okay, I'm just going to predict that I might spend at least a few days on the various translations. Okay, but it should be worth it, because that means we can add the language options in the game that will allow you to change the language used in the game. Okay, so next is, it looks exactly like the game that I'm working on. So when translated to Japanese, okay, I have to think about this. Okay, the game that I'm working on. Okay, so game that I am working on by itself can be translated into good day to game. That means the game that I'm working on. Okay, so the sort of the sentence or grammar structure is reversed from English. Oh, hey, good question. So, in a way, I might have done this before, but in another language, so I have to redo this sort of dialogue system in C#. But what I do is, so right now it's in something like a spreadsheet, but I will export it to CSV. Okay, so let me do that first, and I can show you. Okay, so version 0. So once we have exported the CSV file, okay, and then let me just show you the exported CSV file. So once we have everything down, we should not also have this additional commas. But anyway, using this CSV file, we can load it to a SQLite database using there's a tool in Firefox which has the plugin for loading data from CSV file to SQLite database. And once you have the SQLite database, you can extract each row from it for the dialog. So yeah, SQLite manager. Okay. Okay, so for example, now we are looking at just an old SQLite file, and let's see, you can sort of import data using CSV file here. Okay, and fields are separated by comma, so you can just choose a CSV file here and then import it. Once you import it, you get the data. You get the data around where is the data? Oh, here. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, for this we only have 2 columns because this is for a simple game. But yeah. But for our dialog, since we have so many data here, this will appear as data within the SQLite, so it will appear here. And then we can use C# to access it since it's a SQLite file. Yeah, that's about it. And one important thing to note is that if you want to provide localizations for other languages besides English, it's important to export the CSV file as UTF-8, Unicode UTF-8, so that when you have other languages such as maybe Japanese or I don't know, Chinese, okay, they will be exported correctly. So you can see that the Japanese characters are here. And when you load this data into the SQLite database, they will be loaded correctly as well. But you have to make sure that when you import it as UTF-8 as well. Or maybe 16. Yeah, either 8 or 16. I can't remember which one. Yeah, I think that's, unless you are not planning to provide localizations for other languages besides English, then you don't have to worry about the encoding. But it's good to provide at least one or two additional localizations besides English. Oh, by the way, okay, so let's see. I can't remember where you can find the SQLite manager Firefox, but I think it's in the plugin, or rather the add-ons sort of marketplace by Mozilla. It's a rather handy tool, or at least that's what I feel. Yeah. But the only downside to this is that you need to install Firefox. Okay, but the only reason why I'm using this is because I've tried other options and they don't seem to work, at least for me on the Mac. So that's why I'm using this with Firefox. Oh, JavaScript, as in, are you asking if you can access the data within SQLite file using JavaScript, or are you asking about importing data into a SQLite file using JavaScript? Or are you asking if you can use JavaScript to do everything? So it depends on what you want to achieve using JavaScript. But I'm sure that it's possible to use JavaScript to access what's inside a SQLite database. I'm sure this is possible. Yeah. Okay, so from what I'm reading here, there is a sort of JavaScript library for you to do that, and it's called sql.js. Yeah, and it seems like it's recommended, or rather most frequently recommended from what I'm reading here. So I think that should be what you need, I think. Yeah, because I haven't tried using JavaScript for this, but it should work. Yeah, or I should say that there's no reason why it shouldn't work. Yeah. Yeah, this sounds interesting as well. Okay, so I'll be spending some time doing the translations and then setting up the dialog system to display this each dialog, which is each row one by one after each other. Yeah. Okay, so that means for today's update, we might be just adding some minor things here and there and fixing some bugs. Okay, but there will definitely be an update for Stellar Stars later today. Okay, so we'll stop streaming here. Okay, but we'll also be streaming either tomorrow or the day after next, so around the same time. Yeah, so thanks for joining the live stream today as well, Shredowsail. I hope you have found what you need for JavaScript and the database thing. Yeah, hope to see you soon and good luck for your project.